Hello and welcome to another Tech Articles. In this article, we're going to look at another new feature in FlowMattic 5.1.0, and that is workflow variables. Now, you've seen these workflows before, and I did a video not all that long ago before I submitted a support ticket about workflow variables. And I got round my issues at the time by using a PHP function to basically give and return variables. And I'll put a link to that video below. And while this still has some benefits, particularly if you have hundreds of variables, you can do them all in one pass. They are available. They're not quite as usable as they would be if they were native. So this would be our us getting our variables. I'm going to test this action, and you'll see that we'll get our return of our individual variables, which we can now use in these videos. So these are 4 pieces of changing data that change, and the rest of the workflow stays identical. And there was no native way to do this on a workflow basis. We could change global variables, we could update global variables, but we couldn't do it on a workflow by workflow basis. And that has been introduced now in 5.1.0. So I've now reworked this to use a native solution. And the reason I've done that, there's only actually, now I've reworked it, I've got it down to 3 variables. And where I can, I prefer to use native functionality over custom snippets, because actually it's less likely to break as time goes on. So I'm going to go back out this and go back into my new workflow. So you've seen the workflow there, and I've just created this one, and the NV on the end of this indicates that we're using native variables. So you'll see straight away that the PHP function that was at number 3 has been removed, and it's been replaced by 3 new FlowMattic tools items, and they are set our plugin name, set our security key, set our domain. I no longer need a title because I've made our title out of our plugin name and the word sandbox, so we don't need it anymore. So I only need 3 variables, and with all I have to do now to release a new sandbox generation is to clone this workflow, copy the webhook URL here, put it into response for sure forms here. So I'd put it in and tell it where to send the webhooks. And then from there, all I need to do is update these 3 items, and it's good to go. So I'm going to go through these 3 items and show you where they are in the workflow and how they work. And also, I'm going to try and avoid giving you any secret information, so I don't have to spend 400 hours blurring out all of this information. The secret key I'm going to change at the end of this video anyway, so it doesn't matter. So our plugin name, we're going to create a local variable. Now there are other options here. There's get local variable, update local variable, delete local variable. In this case, we only need to create them because we're using them. So we're going to configure, and in this case, we're setting our plugin name. So it's called plugin. It's a string that I want here, and I want that string to say Post Manager Pro for shortcut. So if I go to conditions, I've not set any of these. And I go to test, and we've got our data in, which is plugin string Post Manager Pro for shortcut. And if we test that action, we get our data out, which is a success, the variable ID, and the value of that variable, which now means this is available to us in the rest of the workflow. And we've got exactly the same here for secret key as we have for the others. And if I go down to this one, as an example. So this is an API response to create the sandbox, and this is based on tool 5 value, and tool 5, as you can see here, is our set our domain. So that's our domain, the endpoint for our REST API, and that requires our secret key, our title, which, as I've said, I've already got rid of by using our plugin name and the word sandbox, our slug, which is generated up here, which is a random 3-character password, 3-animal password or subdomain, and a random 3-digit number, and the email that is submitted via Shore form that comes into this webhook via response for Shore form. And that's all that needs to generate our sandbox, but as you can see, by just changing our variables here, this all updates with the new details. And we'll do Discord notification. I can always blur out the API endpoint, and in this case it's even easier. I just telling it that the username is really useful plugins. This is what the logo is, which is the site icon, and then it just says here new tool 3 value sandbox generated, and tool 3 is our plugin name. And then it tells us PHP function 2 response, which is our subdomain, and tool 5 value, and that is our domain. And then we've got our response to Shortform response. And for this one, it's relatively easy as well. We've got our webhook custom forward URL, which comes in from our webhook and is part of response for Shortforms. Then we've got our body, our session ID and our form ID. We want to display the body and we want to display a copy button. And that looks like this on the return. So on the return, we get thank you test user, and the test user would be whatever was entered into your name. Here are your site details. So this is our generated subdomain. This is our domain. That is their user account, which is generated via their email. And the rest of this is just standard text. So if we go back to the workflow builder and we drag this down, you'll see here's the HTML code for this. It would be nice to have these the same as the send email, which we're showing in a second, so they're more visual, and I have put a feature request for that in. So email by FlowMattic is what we're going to do next, and we configure this, and this is done exactly the same way. We have our from and our to. Our to email is based on that response for Shortform email that comes in here. Then we've got our tool 3 value, which is our plugin name. Sandbox is ready, then it goes to our subdomain, and then it goes to our domain, and then it says our plugin name. Sandbox has been created. Your username will be whatever they submitted as their email address. Then we get our subdomain and domain as our URL, and that is a URL as well. So actually the link contains that as well. And thank you for your interest in plugin name. And that is this workflow. And the same on the delete, works exactly the same as the create. It goes to the delete API endpoint. It validates itself with a secret key and sends the site ID, which is returned here in create sandbox. So I don't know if I've got one here to do. I don't really want to create a new sandbox. I'll do it anyway. It might fail because I haven't done all of the steps. But there you go. It will return this site ID here, number 5, and this will delete that by number 5. So in this case, it will send here the secret key and to delete number 5, and then it will delete number 5 for us. And this is the power of our local variables. By setting these 3 items, this workflow is the same regardless. I use the same plugin on every one of these sandbox sites. I set a secret key, I set some other variables on the site, and then all I need to do now is duplicate this however many times I need it, update these 3 fields, and it will automatically create those type of sandboxes moving forward. And that's why local variables are really important. And I've only covered creating them here. So these are really, really powerful. I'm really glad to see them introduced. I'd love to see what people do with them. But they now make your workflow variables combined, and they mean that you can set a workflow up to use variables like I have done here, and to reuse this for the same purpose with the same output, but with those variables changing means it takes seconds rather than building the workflow from the beginning. So yeah, I'm really glad to see local variables in FlowMattic, and I look forward to seeing how they develop. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.